Hello, Ivo. Welcome to the Creative Insider Podcast. How are you doing?
Hi, Georgi. I'm fine, thank you. A lot of things have happened recently, but yeah, here I am. We
Yeah.
postponed it once, so I hope this
Yeah,
time is
I
gonna.
like that you were the only one of the few guests that just postponed the appointment, and I accepted it, and we didn't need to extra text, and then you just showed up at the. I was a little bit of was because I like not to text too much with my guests because otherwise I would need to text with everybody. And I
Yeah,
like that we didn't text too much, but I thought, oh, maybe he won't do it anymore because.
definitely. Yeah, we had some car trouble. I was in the middle of the mountain, and yeah, that's the story.
I want to tell you how I got to know about you. I usually whether I find some people and I find them interesting, or people talk to me about some people that I should check on. And this was the case with you. One guy on Twitter texted me and said, "Hey, look, you're doing this podcast, and there is this guy Ivo. You have to check his Instagram and his work. He's really
Awesome.
good." And I was like, "Okay, let's do it," because I like to invite Bulgarian guests on the podcast. So you can introduce a little bit yourself, who you are, what you do, what exactly is your work.
Well, you've seen my Instagram, so you're probably not familiar with the rest of my work. The Instagram started quite recently, actually. I didn't have it, and I decided to have myself to make myself one and start posting regularly. But this is not my main work. It's only my AI work currently, and I am a musician. I'm a 3D motion graphics designer. I have like 10 years of web development, front end, UI, UX work behind me. And yeah, and I play in a couple of bands. I own a record label, produce about around 10 artists currently. And yeah, so a lot of things around me.
Hustling a lot. No, I like that. All around creative and designer. But I'm curious, what was like, mm, I always ask this because it's, when I want to understand a person all around, all 360 degrees. And if somebody's listening, also to give them an idea about how was your path towards becoming a professional designer, artist, musician. Was there a moment in your life where you decided that you will pursue this path towards creativity as a profession, or did it happen naturally? Is your family background maybe very involved into
Yeah.
this kind of things?
Well, in a way, it has always been like my path. I come from a family of painters, and I've been trained as a painter. Um, Probably around back when I was 13 years old, I got into DJing and music. Uh, I kind of went that way for a while and decided to explore music and music production. Then, because you need promotion anyways, I got into graphic design to make my own posters and flyers and all that promotional work, and started building websites. And because the scene in Bulgaria is kind of limited, I had to build like a couple of websites that are like for interviews and promoting other people's parties and all that, so I can get more of a community around that and have like a larger audience to promote to. And yeah, so this is the moment I realized that I have to keep doing graphics, and it was interesting. Then probably around 21, after I graduated high school, I decided to go and study. So I went to London, did a foundation course in art and design. Then I did another BA in digital media design, and after that, I followed with a master's in computational arts. And yeah, that kind of
That was your path, so to say.
yes, oh, yeah.
But which university did you go to? Or because it's
Um,
very various, it's very interesting. I mean,
yeah, I went to my foundation and BA were I've graduated from London University of the Arts, and my master's is from Goldsmiths College.
yeah.
Yeah, so there are two separate main universities in London.
And your master sounded really interesting. Was something like you said, digital?
Computational arts.
What exactly is that? Because sounds because we had a lot of computational designers on the podcast, which
Yeah.
do like these parametric or computer generated designs that are more related to architecture, but was specifically in your case computational arts.
Computational arts is a field of study that is on the it crosses uh, computer science and programming, and in the context of arts, like visual arts, maybe even audio, but I mainly focused on visuals. So in like standard art education, you'll be studying how to use computer software to achieve a specific project you're working on. But in computational arts, it's about developing your own tools to to produce work instead of actually learning ready-made software packages.
So basically, it's a little bit like programming your software to make design.
Yeah. For example, if you need like let's say a graphic of like a static graphic, you go on in processing or some like a language which is catered for like for graphics, and you write your own code to display the graphic, and you wouldn't be touching nothing like Photoshop or Illustrator or something like that. Same for video, you'll be developing your own filters, video effects and all that, or you'll be working on like with sensors and Arduino's Raspberry Pis, or like cameras for like face tracking or body tracking to have an interactive installation or something like this, like this.
It sounds interesting. Have you seen lately what I find a lot on the web? Maybe I don't know if you said you've seen this. It's becoming very, very popular. This Mid-Journey, it's called. It's like,
Yeah,
and
I'm a beta tester of it.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been for like couple of months now, probably
Uh,
3 4.
what is that somehow connected to what you were studying before?
Well, Midjourney is AI that is it's called text to image. It's one of the most advanced ones currently, but it's being developed by a private company, and it's currently in beta testing. And yeah, I had the chance to be one of the first wave early adopters and testers. But we actually don't have access to the code base, so it's basically in a way just working with the tool they've developed, and g- getting like an output like graphics.
Yeah,
Uh,
basically you write like I don't know.
a
You can
prompt,
write.
text prompt. You ask the bot, and it gives you a picture,
How long
an image.
it does it take seconds for it to generate an image?
Yeah. It's quite fast. It runs on A100 NVIDIA graphics cards, and it's extremely fast.
And it generates variation, or does it generate like the same image if you write the same thing?
Well, it currently generates for variations, and you can ask it for more from each individual output it gives you. Um, this is the same principle. It's not the first one. There's like a couple of them currently in the mainstream. You may have heard of Disco Diffusion or VQGAN. It's or DALL-E of OpenAI. It's getting big. Actually, OpenAI was responsible for the whole thing. They released a language text language interpreter, which is the basis of all of them. It will understand your text input and translate it into a image.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. I think like I start feeling more and more obsolete. I've been talking about this before on the podcast because I'm working architecture, and when there are very complex buildings, some offices write a script that generates the floor plans of the building
Yeah,
because it would be too complicated to have a worker on each floor, and it's
absolutely.
getting everywhere. It's getting
I
like
mean,
images.
yeah, AI. I've been actually focusing on AI quite a lot over the past year and a half, more and more. I'm actually as well beta testing DALL-E 2 of OpenAI. I've got my own AI scripts I've been working on as well. The main work on my Instagram is actually custom made AI and trained by myself. And there's like tons of it. There's like text to 3D, which will generate your object. There's like a lot of video enhancement tools you can use. There's like style transfer, image style transfer, AIs. There's so many and keep coming. It's literally impossible to actually keep track of all. But it's interesting, and I don't find it scary. Many people in the community are getting scared by it, but I think of it as a tool that enhances your work, and I don't think it will be replacing us anytime soon.
How does this work with like machine learning? So basically, these
Yeah,
algorithms go through images on the web, and then they know how to combine them very
yeah.
quickly.
There is data collection services, and there's like a lot of like databases that are like images tagged and screened for like, I mean, so there's no like violence content or such. And then the machine learning algorithm is being trained on it, and it will pick up features, color schemes, like positions, general shapes and stuff, and learn how a specific item or object would look like. And once you write a prompt, it will generate, synthesize an image based on what it's learned. Um,
I
as well,
applied.
they're like,
I
the
ap- I
yeah.
applied today for the image for the beta testing of Midjourney, but I did
I
not
can
get
give you an
that.
invite. I can give you an invite.
Oh, that
It's
would be
fine.
cool. Then let's do
Yeah,
that after the
definitely.
podcast because I wanted to generate like an image. I was thinking, let me try to see because everybody like um
Yes.
it gets exponentially hyped. Like there is one person shares an image of a mid journey, and then in 2-3 days you'll find everybody sharing images of mid
Yeah.
journeys.
Absolutely,
Um,
it's getting crazy. I mean, couple of us in the community of Midjourney, when we got the first wave invites, we one of the guys, Chris, made a Facebook group, and that was like 3 months ago, perhaps around 2 months, and we started the Facebook group, and that group currently has about 30,000 people. And yeah, we were sharing invites and like growing it.
No, one thing that so far in the conversation make me think about your background is that you said you come from a family of painters, and then with 13 you said you started DJing, so you started being passionate about music, and then through
Yeah,
music you needed to make like the covers of your songs or also the flyers of the parties and things like that.
yeah, yeah.
And then you did web design,
It's all
computational
connected.
art. Yeah, but um, how long or like was basically since somehow were you lucky then you find what you love since such an early age and you gather all this skill set? Because it's, I don't know if people can understand this, but to be able to produce music, to be able to script code, like you said yourself, to be
Yeah,
able to design all the notions about design, like hierarchy, colors, grid, and everything. It's a lot of knowledge. So
yeah, definitely. It is.
how did
It's
you? And also, like if I go to your, I mean, people, I'll put a link, of course, in the podcast description. But if I go to your Instagram, you do also this, the art you do. I don't know, but it's crazy good. Like it's a very high level. So I'm thinking how long did it took you to gather all this knowledge and skills, and nowadays how is your day structured in order to manage to do all of this?
It's actually it's quite insane. I mean, I never thought I'll be branching so much into different areas of arts and audio, but it happened naturally, and I literally cannot think of dropping anything. Um, it probably to I'm not that good of a coder, but I mean I'm fine to do whatever I need to do for my work. And for example, but let's say in visual arts, I encompass everything as visual arts because it's very difficult to like split the different stuff I do. But I mean I'm trained painter, so I kind of got the color uh, schemas and all that as natural. I don't know. I don't find difficult to produce an image. But it took me, let's say, I actually started with 3D in my BA. It took me about 4 to 5 years to get around to be consistent in learning the CG softwares. Like I'm currently using mainly Cinema 4D, but I do know Houdini and I know all the rest of the packages. Like I use Blender from time to time. I use a couple of different rendering engines. I actually got involved into Unreal Engine and Unity, as well touch designer and like live visual tools like Resolume as well for VJing.
Have you used Octane for Cinema 4D?
Yeah, Octane is my main renderer.
Yeah, because
All
it's it looks like Octane when I see the renders.
yeah. Mainly I use Octane. I'm trying to escape Octane.
Why
I
so?
Well, it's probably because I'm pushing it too much for stuff it isn't best suited for. Uh, I always hit some limit, and let's say I'll build like a massive simulation with like billions of polygons. It just cannot render them. I'm currently working on a video for my last song, and I went to. I mean, I've got a scene with like about I don't know 80 million particles or so, maybe I might be speaking, but yeah, I want to render them as geometry instead of particles, so they can cast shadows and all that, and it's just not possible. Octane just crashes all the time.
Well, I see a lot of computers around you. Do you have like what is it called? Like a render farm around you?
Uh, well, I've got three GPUs in that one, and I've got two in another one over here. It's not a render farm, but it's getting there.
Do you also build all the computers yourself? Do you have that technical knowledge too?
Yeah. I actually do electronics as well. There's I don't know if it's, I do like a modular synthesizer, so like microelectronics, and I do custom controllers for my performances. So that's, and I've got a 3D printer over there. I'm into fabricating stuff as well.
You're making me stupid.
No, come on. I mean, in a way, if you think of it, they're all connected. I mean,
Yeah, but they're all connected, but they're also not connected. Like every single thing takes time. Like
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I don't know, and then you learn some of the hardest software out there. Like I mean, maybe Cinema 4D is not that hard to learn, but I know that Houdini it's quite a puzzle.
yeah. Houdini is actually. I mean, it's not that bad, but probably you need to have a little bit of background knowledge into logic and like node-based environments. I happen to learned that a while ago with Max MSP. I don't know if you've heard it. Max
No.
MSP is like object-oriented, node-based programming language. And long story short, it was the audio engine for Nexus, Next OS, the company that oh man, Apple guys are gonna hate me now.
It's like an Apple-based program or what?
No, it was the audio engine for the operating system of Next OS, Next computers or whatever
Yeah,
was.
next like the computer
Yeah. And then they've split and became a separate software package for audio and video, live audio and video coding. And I went, I got into it in 2012 when I moved in London, and I kind of got interested in interactive installations, and this was one of the main tools I used to build my first custom softwares. And yeah, the whole principle of it is that node-based environment where you have objects and connect them. It's quite common now, but like 10-15 years ago it was the beginning of it.
Yeah, and one thing that I've been thinking also is that of course you have gathered all this knowledge, but also you have to, have time to even play around with the new software.
Definitely.
How did you manage when you moved to London? Did you have like a scholarship, or did your family support you, or did you need to extra work on the side?
I was working part-time. I mean, my family was supporting me, but not entirely. So I had to still work. London is freaking expensive. And yeah, I never took living cost loans. I just got the ones for tuitions. And
But what did you like? You kinda started hustling since you were younger, because also was nature, as you said, because it's a family of painters. You started painting, and then the rest. And what was like the first professional gigs that you got also in London? Did you work in the field, or did you do just jobs to maintain them?
Well, no. So basically, I was doing web development before I went to London to study. I had like I was doing freelance websites and like graphic design for posters and all that. And when I moved to London, I kept doing that on the side. And my first job was probably my second year, and I started working for a web development company studio. And so I was doing like 4 to 5, 6 hours a day for them, and that was an income. And I kept doing that for a while, probably 2 or 3 years. Then I had a break to finish my BA, and after that, I kept working full time. Um, so this is pretty much it.
Yeah, that happens like quite a lot, doesn't it? Like I think Beeple also was like working in some web development company. It's sort of like when you start designing something and then it's computer related, you start playing around with this tool and that other tool, and then it suddenly becomes more and more.
Yeah.
Um, and so you did the whole education in London, and after London, did you directly after you finished, you decided to go back to Bulgaria,
No,
or how was it?
I stayed for a couple of years and kept working. I went to a couple of different companies. At some point, some personal issues came into existence, and I had to move as well. I wasn't actually quite happy with the whole Brexit situation. Um,
When did you go back to Bulgaria? Which year?
uh, to what was it? 2019. I came back to Bulgaria.
Right
Uh,
before the pandemic. Perfect.
yeah, just arrived for the pandemic and got locked for a couple of years. Yeah, but I came here. I started playing music again. I had I actually one of the main reasons behind my move to London was because I wanted to grow my music career, which didn't actually happen that way. What did happen was my graphics, like 3D motion graphics and all that stuff, took off, and I got into more of a programming for graphics, and but as soon as I got back here, I started DJing again. I started playing with a guy from a band called Morians. Over the last year, I've hooked up with another singer that we work with currently, and yeah. Also, I was until recently I was working for a multimedia company, one of the main ones in Bulgaria, for projection mapping and like the 3D motion graphics and interactive work.
This is like VFX, like special
Yeah,
effects.
VFX, yeah, stuff like that. Called
Oh,
Electric Me. I don't know if probably I've
no,
seen it.
I've never heard of them.
It's an awesome company with awesome people.
No, I know that in Bulgaria there are a lot of those companies because there is the what is called Boyana Studios, right? Like they do
Yeah,
the Hollywood movies, and of course around that starts building up also all the other services, not only the shooting, so to say.
yeah. I mean, there is apart from the movie industry that keeps a lot of VFX jobs around. There is a lot of I think I actually I realized that quite recently. There's a lot of architectural and like building visualization work around here as well. I see a lot of people in 3D which are in from that background. Um,
Yeah, I know that we had quite a few of them on the podcast because, yeah, the architectural industry is a little bit complex and involved a lot of
Yeah.
politics and paperwork, and the the more untransparent it gets, as you may imagine, harder it is to get the jobs. And people are like, okay, I'm just rather gonna go do VFX, 3Ds, and work on international stage, and I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's also like V-Ray, it's Bulgarian company.
Yeah, V-Ray as
Yeah,
well. There's a couple of game studios.
yeah,
Big
Chaos
one.
Group. Yeah,
Chaos Group. Yeah.
they
They're doing amazing work. I wish I learned their render.
I think yeah, you'll get it in a couple of hours.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure, but I probably never gonna switch.
I mean,
No.
slowly, all of the main one, for example, for Argris belong to them. They bought Corona, which is also
Yeah.
like what an
Yeah.
unhappy name to give to your brand portfolio. And then there is like they bought lately, or they merged together with Enscape, which is this crazy. It's again a built-in render for several. It's mainly for the architectural industry, where you can just. It's getting super easy for whatever you want to use. It's like a video game. You just plug in this thing, set up
I
this.
mean, yeah, Nvidia is pushing their. I don't know if you've seen it. What was it called? Like Omnisphere, where it's like all all software packages are linked together into a live environment where you can literally, let's say, build an asset in Maya or 3D Max and whatever, and it will. You can do collaborative work with people with different software packages, render real time and all that. It's insane. Um,
Yeah, no, definitely. And so when you before you came back to Bulgaria, did you have a job in London, or were you already like solo hustling, and then you just
uh,
transitioned to another
I,
country, or how
I
was the plan? What was the plan, if there was a plan?
No, no, I didn't. I didn't. I wanted to have a break from London completely. So when I decided to finally move, I was like, I left my job, I left my house, packed my things, came back, and I was like, okay, what am I gonna do now? Let's have a break for a couple of months. Let's see. Let's like enjoy my summer. Get myself a breathing space to think clearly and all that, and because it's a difficult step. Like I mean it's 10 years of your life. You don't switch right away and go into another job, and it's as well the life here and there is completely different. The speed it moves with. Yeah, so I had to have a little bit time for myself.
And after that, you came up with the idea of the music label.
No, the music label I started in 2012 in London. Actually,
Okay.
it's still a registered company in London. Um, I I came. I mean, I started a job in Sofia, so I moved to Sofia. I'm actually from Pomorje, which is a sea coast town, small town. When I came back in Bulgaria, I went to my hometown and stayed there for the summer until the end of the winter, actually, and moved like probably 6 to 9 months after that, and moved to Sofia to for that job in electric me.
No,
Um,
cool.
yeah.
It's I'm always amazed how highly motivated are people in Bulgaria that are coming from outside of Sofia, because I have this for people who don't know, in Bulgaria there is this very strong division between Sofia. It's a bit like France is between Paris and the rest of the country,
Yeah,
and I was born in Sofia, but actually never lived there. Like
Yeah.
my most of my conscious life, I was abroad. So for me, I was never like part of it. And It's a very very curious thing. Um, how was for you moving from London to Sofia? Also, like how is the design, scenery, music scenery compared between the two cities?
I mean, Sofia is a nice city. Don't get me wrong, but it's not my favorite city, and it still cannot catch me in a way that I would love to. I it's don't want to bash it, but
No, be
it's
honest. Be honest. Go ahead.
well, I don't have a favorite music space, to be honest. The music scene is kind of very different to me, and I've never liked it. Before I went to London, that was probably one of the main reasons. Now it's getting better, but still not my kind of cup of tea. I mean, I respect all the people, like all the DJs. Lots of them are my friends. There's a lot of bands, but I still need. I mean, probably that's kind of a promoter's area which they need to improve. That hasn't happened still. I want to see a lot of underground new, like up and coming artists coming to play instead of the same old like super famous like DJs or bands and all that. That will certainly make the venue full, but I mean, I've seen them all. I'm not interested in like repeating the same uh, music acts all the time. I want like fresh music, you know. If the art scene, on the other hand, I'm not quite familiar with. I still don't know most of the main galleries. I don't have time to actually visit much of them. There's a lot of people doing like visual and interactive work I like, but I don't see much happening into galleries or spaces. Especially when I'm used to what was happening in London. It seems like it's non-existent here. There's a lot of place for improvement, definitely. But I see there's a lot of talented people around as well. Um,
No, definitely. And so you went to this job for. Are you still working for this company for VFX and?
I left in January. Decided to focus on my personal artworks and music as well. Currently not employed. I play with the couple of bands I'm playing in, and yeah, I do freelance visual works.
What kind of music actually do you play and do you
Uh,
produce?
well, with the band called Morians is kind of I do like percussions and drums. Um, the band is mainly kind of ska punk rock kind of band. With there is a singer called Milenita. I don't know if you know her. With her, we do like a trip hop kind of electronic, semi-electronic music. And my solo thing is as a DJ is some mixture between hip hop breaks and towards electro, um, and I produce mainly electronic music as a solo act. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's all over the place again.
yeah. It's again, it's everything. It's like you cannot get your favorite. You cannot pick a favorite. You just
Mm.
do. You
For
take
me,
it all.
for me, it's kind of if it gets me going, like if there is a groove, I'm fine with it. I don't like putting borders or limitations. It's about the feeling. It's about the. I mean, there's music for every situation. I suppose it's like with everyone. Even the listener doesn't listen to one style of music. For, like you wake up in the morning, you want to like happy and like groovy music to get you on. Sometimes you're depressed, you want to go into a dark like kind of sound. Same with me, depending on the mood, I'll be making different music.
I listen to more and more podcasts, to be honest.
Yeah, well,
People listen to podcasts, not to music.
that definitely does.
Specifically to this one. No, I'm joking. No, definitely, music is something, I don't know. You cannot listen the same music when you're working out and the same music when you're sad or happy. I mean, there are maybe some songs that overlap, but sometimes you have the real mood of maybe older music, newer music, more
Yeah,
electronic, so it change.
absolutely.
It's like I don't know, it's like food. It's like you cannot
Yeah.
eat the same thing all the time. um and did you, because I mean, for the people who are listening and they will go check your work, or maybe we just edit some images of what you do here in the video. Did you join the NFT game? Because like your work is
Right.
very NFT.
No, I'm anti-crypto actually quite a lot.
Anti-crypto sounds like antichrist. I'm like, no, no crypto.
No crypto, man. No, actually, there's a story too. When I moved to London back in 2010, in 2011, Bitcoin came around, and it was the early days. Because I'm like a computer guy, like a geek. I started like mining and all that, supporting the network, believing in the liberal side of it. But I was young. I mean, at that point, I was probably what, 23, 24 years old, maybe around that time. I didn't know much about politics and economics and all that. And you start to believe the generalizations you hear all the time, like governments are bad, banks are bad, and all that. And you wanna, you know, make a revolution, financial revolution, all that shit. And at some point, I got more and more interested into it. I got scammed a couple of times with all my bitcoins and all that, and started to get interested more and more into economics, and quickly realized the whole crypto system, especially when you understand the technology side of it. It's never gonna work. I mean, it had its moment probably in the early days. That's the point when it wasn't mainstream. There wasn't exchanging between currencies like non-cryptocurrencies like dollar and euro. So a Bitcoin theoretically would only work in crypto in general, will only work if it's not linked to any currency in its own kind of balloon. Otherwise, if it's linked, it's never going to work. It's not a good replacement. It technically is much worse than whatever banks are doing. It's slow, and it doesn't fit purpose. NFTs, kind of the same story. I mean, it's just a writing in a blockchain. It doesn't safeguard you from anything. It's also can be stolen. I don't see the point of it.
You're really like the anti-crypto. You're like now breaking all the, like I did, I don't know how many podcasts about NFT and people being excited and saying that it's gonna be the future.
No, I definitely understand the excitement. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of I see why people are liking it. I know why people are liking it. I mean, a lot of people that are being left have been left over like many years, especially artists with digital works. They've never had market, never had communities, never had any means of selling their digital artworks, and there comes the NFT with the promise. It's like it 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 it's a right. It will. Sorry, I'm getting. uh, it will. How is it called? It will sort the right holder kind of problem, but it doesn't. The copyrights and all that. It's completely so much more complex than just writing a first entry into a database. It's not that easy. Copyrights are very complex, and people are getting hurt. Artists all over the place are being ripped off and copied and resold in different platforms
Yeah,
and
but
all
I
that.
think this is just the beginning. It's like everything when it gets wild. Like it's like always Wild West in the beginning, like with the web,
The
with
thing is, people forget. Yeah, I know that's the main point that crypto enthusiasts keep repeating, but they always forget the idea behind crypto is to be like to not be like to be decentralized and have and blockchain is the authority and not another agency, government agency to step in and like courts and all that to solve problems. So the idea behind crypto is not to have like a main central authority which will deal with copyrights, but the blockchain itself is the proof for copyright, which it isn't. And at the same time, you're like pushing to promote a system which shouldn't be reliant on governments and agencies to deal like to sort copyrights, and when the issue is there, you go and still need the government to come and sort the mess, and that's I don't see the point of it. I mean, you can do this copywriting without the whole blockchains stuff, and you don't need it if you're gonna be reliant on like courts and like lawyers to sort copyrights and all that. So it's kind of why do you do it?
I think the ideology for sure shifted since the beginning of now it's more
It's about
um
sales. It's about sales. It's
yeah, and maybe it's also the not so much the ideology, it's more like the technology. Like it's a new like it's unrealistic to think that we're gonna do a completely decentralized system because
no,
it's
yeah.
just very hard from the political point of view, right? Like because if you have now a lot of power in the current status quo, it's gonna be like you're gonna fight it back. So you're gonna
I
avoid it. But
mean,
I think technology will still be like somehow useful.
well, blockchains are databases anyway. If you leave the hype around like cryptocurrencies and NFTs, there is applications for them. One of the main ones which is probably the first and the best example of it is GitHub, which is a Merkle tree system, which is reliant on the same kind of basic technology underneath. There's like
No,
yeah, there's like a lot of I've read a lot. Actually, do you know what one of the more interesting applications for it I've actually found myself, and probably the most useful one is Octane's render coin kind of thing. But it's you don't. I mean, the render coin is basically you rent out your GPUs for other artists to use, and you get like render coins. And then when you need them, you can render. You can spend them for rendering, and but it has nothing to do with trade or like money or whatever. It's just like a shared kind of a resources system, which I find particularly good, to be honest. Um, I think this sort of applications for it will definitely take off.
I think it's gonna it's definitely gonna get slower. Like the application of it is gonna slower a little bit because of, for example, the energy crisis we are experiencing, and
Yeah.
because this whole movement of this kind of coins along the blockchain, it's very energy intensive, and that's something that mm, I I'm concerned about. I think
Yeah,
for for now
there's
it's unsustainable.
yeah, definitely unsustainable. Another thing is like not even the energy itself, but like the problem it makes with like computational resources. Like there is a
Yeah.
shortage of computer chips of all kind because of it, and this is gonna. I mean, the price speculation they do with coins, with the coins, with the currencies, is making the whole thing really bad. Although now there's like a massive crash.
Yeah.
I really hope it crashes much more.
Oh, okay, now let's be honest. How many bitcoins did you mine and how many did you sell for like $2?
Oh well, I mean, I probably had like one of my first sales, like 80 bitcoins or whatever, was for like less than $8.
Oh, see, that's why you hate it.
No, no. Why? I mean, if you're in a mining game, especially early on, you never think of Bitcoin becoming that big. I mean, you mine, you sell all the time, so it's not like you kept your coins forever and all that. I've actually lost a couple of wallets as well. I've empty gox disappeared with some of my coins. There's a bit bargain. Exchange, one of the early ones in like a UK exchange. Yeah, it got liquidated or something, and I had the wallet over there with money, and it disappeared again. So yeah, it's
You maybe find, I think if you find the one with like just 2, 3 bitcoins, you'll still be like, okay.
yeah. At this
Despite the
point,
crash,
probably, but I
the,
don't keep my hopes up now.
despite the crash of the market for 2, 3 bitcoins, you still can be in a better place, I think.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't have a real opinion about it. We'll see. I think that um, it's something that people should at least learn about and then make their own evaluation.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
I mean, I'm neither for it, neither against it. I'm like, I wanted to do some NFTs for just I wanted, for example, to turn the covers of the podcast episodes into NFTs,
Yeah.
and sort of the owners of those NFTs to give them special access to a special community. But then once I've heard how much energy expansion and CO2 it's needed for a single NFT, I thought, okay, this is not like it's not a piece of art that, I don't know, has to be completely, like, I don't know, unique in some way, or I don't know. I always think it has to have a real value for the person that owns something. So for now, the plan is off the table, but in the future, if it gets more,
Well, you know, Time Magazine made a couple of their covers as NFTs and sold them. There's like a big clean NFTs movement. They use like proof of what was it? Proof POS proof of hell. I can't remember the abbreviation, but yeah,
yeah,
it's
but this is like a little bit. Let's be honest, it's a little bit of bullshit. Like
yeah.
once you use the energy, you can put every, like I work in this, for example, green buildings. When they say this building is green, it's platinum certificated, is CO2 neutral and stuff like it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's total, like, it's not true, because I mean, you still use like tracks that bring the materials. you still use all the machinery, the digs and all the cranes and all the generators, and I don't know, you ship metal parts from China or from somewhere far away. So it's kind of a matter of label and not a matter of facts. It's like it's not
Yeah,
really, yeah. So I'm not into these things. These are green. It's like I don't know. Here in
yeah, that's
Germany,
energy. The energy illusion, like the energy cost illusion, is massive. Like one of the biggest pollution and like consuming materials is concrete. It takes up like, I don't know, 20 to 40% of the worldwide energy to be produced, and concrete and steel as well. Actually, there is a guy. It's one of the Bill Gates advisors. Forgot his name, but he's
the expert in vaccines and 5G. No, I'm joking.
no, no. He's like energy like consultant to Bill Gates, and this guy is actually talking a lot of sense. He talks about the cost of production of concrete and steel and all that massive um, raw elements that are used in everyday uh,
Life, yeah, everyday
yeah,
use. Yeah,
and
but it's,
no,
I don't know. It's very hard to see how it's gonna develop in the future. I mean, specifically for the building industry, it will be some sort of mega 3D printing machine that are already being tested,
yeah,
and material efficiency. But like, you know, you make a 3D printed steel structure, so it will be using exactly the right amount of steel in each point. But we're
yeah.
not there yet. We're not there yet. Like, and
I mean,
still you'll,
it makes a lot of it's making like big leaps. I'm like all in to 3D printing. I love the concept, and I've had
no,
my
me
3D
too.
printers for years. I think like kind of living space, you should be more aware of those kind of, if you're into architecture. Like
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely. They're testing a lot that for the buildings on Mars, you know,
yeah,
because they cannot kind of launch bricks and mortar into
oh
space.
yeah, yeah,
So they just gonna launch a machine that's gonna be using the sand of Mars to 3D print the buildings and stuff like that. But to me, if I want to be realistic, the main focus should be like on the energy production first of all, so that we work really on finding, I don't know, if it's gonna be cold fusion or whatever is gonna be that generates that amount of energy we need. And then when the energy is kind of sustainably produced, you can do whatever. You can use steel, you can use
yeah.
whatever you want. And
I mean, fusion as well, fusion reactors. No one talks much about it, but they're like massive advancements in the field currently. I kind of keep track of them as well. Especially with AI, they recently, the last 2 years, has been like news after news about AI um, keeping the plasma more stable, like AI algorithms.
yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think we're getting closer and closer to whether something like the Matrix or something like Terminator.
Yeah.
This is this is my opinion. Like it's logic. Like I mean, everything digital is kind of better, so it's obvious. Uh, we'll see, but I think that it's we're a little bit behind schedule from what people might think. I mean, it's not so we're not, yeah, we're speeding up every year. Like if you imagine before how much was happening in a year and now how much is happening in a year. Like 2 years ago the world was like it's like 100 years ago because
Yeah.
it happens so much. So it's gonna be interesting, but as I said, it's gonna be very interesting. And one thing that I'm curious, like if I scroll through your Instagram, that you said it's recently, but you have quite a lot of content. How do you imagine? What is your creative process? Like, I wouldn't come up with these ideas.
For
You do.
the AI, you're
No, for the images, like you have sort of this, let's call them artistic periods where you have, I don't know, a bunch of, um, I don't know,
like, yeah,
dedicated.
they're team-based kind of sort of. I explore. I mean, uh, I kind of get inspired by stuff on semi-weekly basis. Maybe I don't know. Let's say something picks up my mind, and I wanna go and explore that theme for a while. Being like a material, being a color, or like I wanna play with, I don't know. Let's say reflection or a sound or just a word or whatever it is. I'll get hooked up and try to see if I can combine it with stuff. For my 3D work, depending on the project, I like to. I mean, you wouldn't see any of that in my Instagram currently, but probably I should actually start uploading them. I do mind maps. I don't know how popular are they, but I find them very interesting. Um, Mind maps help me develop ideas which I wouldn't otherwise come across.
So you do mind maps, like,
Yeah,
can you make like an example of how an idea gets generated? Like,
I mean, let's say you wanna start express or you wanna especially for my interactive work. If I wanna make an experience for a person, let's say, I'll ask myself what are the possible feelings a person could experience, and let's say it's fear, it's love, or it's like stress or excitement or whatever, and start drawing those into pots, and then keep asking myself questions for each of the individual feeling. How can I invoke that feeling with what I can invoke it? Like, let's say you want to produce a feeling of stress in a person or excitement, you have to produce an event that will be like I don't know. It's kind of
but you have to
let
translate this into graphics, right? Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
So let's say you want to get a person scared, you go into like branch out to like a scary images, or a sound, or try to think of possible situations one might fall into that kind of feelings. And it keeps branching, and then at some point you can keep bringing things together into strange ways. Like you wanna, let's say, make a person taste a word, and how would you do that? You can have a, let's say, a 3D printer with like several kind of like chocolates tasting differently, and you can mix them depending on I don't know, a letter or color or whatever as a input. I don't know. It's,
I have a question. Like, you mentioned you started with painting since early on, and I've studied myself at a school of art in Rome, and one thing that we studied a lot was history of art. And
yeah,
history of art is really good exactly for this, because you study how artists conceptualize their art. You don't not only study, like, you
yeah.
study why they did it the way they do it,
Yeah, yeah,
basically.
definitely. I mean, even in the UK, UK, my most of my education, art education, was more about the process than the actual final work you produce. So we even had like scrapbooks. They were at the beginning, it was very strange to me, but they were asking us all the time to like pick up random bits and pieces we find every day, like we find exciting or interesting, to write about them. Why, like explore the different materials or colors, or put stuff together in unusual ways, and basically uh, build up that sort of workflow. And I kept doing that with everything.
So by the time now we're talking, and in this day and times, you have, for example, one of the latest images, and yeah, they're mainly images you've created on your Instagram account are like with this ancient Egypt theme. For
Yeah.
example, how did you come up with this? Like, how did you this? Because they're like, when you scroll through, there are like, I don't know, maybe I think there are some of your self-portrait edited into crazy stuff, or there are just some stuff that come out of fire, some stuff come out of water, and seems
Yeah.
like they're very, very different. And then suddenly there is, for example, ancient Egypt. So how did you come up with this art?
That's actually one of the first Midjourney stuff I
Ah,
tried.
okay.
The day like the week I got access to it, I was back in my hometown in Pomoria, and I was digging through my old books and like sorting books, and I came across that uh, encyclopedia of Egypt pyramids and like the pharaohs, and I was going through it, and I was like, yeah, I would definitely make a series of of Egypt images and like all the pharaohs and all that, all the gods. Actually, these are all the gods, all the Egyptian gods.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of know. And this is
Yeah,
generated by Midjourney. You
yeah.
just type
These
in
are mid
something.
journeys. Yeah.
This is crazy. This is like Midjourney. It's what is it called? It's gonna be the next thing. Like you just go into Midjourney, type something, make NFTs, sell them without
Probably, I
before
don't
getting.
know. I They have like a policy against NFTs. Actually,
Okay.
most of the AI are against NFTs as well. Um, at least
I'm
for
just
now.
telling you what people gonna do.
No, no, definitely sure. But yeah, it's very difficult because of those same problems with copyrights as well. They know it's gonna bring them a ton of issues.
You know what?
So
Like
they,
the first time I heard about Midjourney was like I didn't even know that exists because um I don't do this. I mean, I know about stuff. I know how to open a software. I know how to
yeah,
move around the software. But unfortunately, or fortunately, or whatever, it happened that my job is I like to do a lot of things like you, and that's why I'm fascinated by your multiplicity of this all these facets that your creativity has. But unfortunately, we have a limited amount. And for example, also like when I work when I work on a project and then it's being built. Like the most beautiful part of being an architect on projects that are constructed is that you kind of walk through your physical ideas afterwards, right? So
yeah,
if you design a space, it's very, very weird when you draw it on paper and then they build it and then you go and it's like it's very weird. It's like you walk into your own head
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And so never have the time to explore too much these other softwares and creativities because the job itself is very intensive. And um, um, and that's why I didn't have so much interest about Midjourney. I saw it from my guys, my friends. I think Federico Biancullo was one of our guests on the podcast, and he shared about and Midjourney generated renderings, and I didn't have at the beginning. I said, okay, this is nothing for me, because if we need an image for our project, we need our image to be exactly like we want it. We don't want something randomly generated by an AI.
Yeah.
And but then I thought, you know what? It would be funny to type in like me, somehow my name on the Joe Rogan Experience, and see what it generates, or something about the podcast to see what it generates. And that's how I got curious to use it. But this morning I went to the website. No, I went on YouTube. I googled how to do a Mid-Journey image, and then I thought I just gonna go on this Discord server and it's gonna be fine. But then I saw that you need this beta testing thing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
but so the real intention was never to make NFTs, was just really to generate some funny images for
I
myself.
mean, I see this type of AI like Midjourneys, because it's not the only one I use. But I see it as a kind of development stage, like concept, quickly generating concept ideas or looks or stuff like that. Although some of the images I produce are very, very like art-like. You can go and explore. Like I've tried with logos, I've tried with like landscapes, all sorts of stuff. You can go nuts about
Mm.
it. So you can implement it. I know people using it for like character design for games, like concept character design, or like all sorts of concept stages in their workflow. This is what I think it's going to be most suited for. Um, but definitely not replacing any artists. not
No, no,
not
no. That's. I
yeah.
mean, it's not precise enough. You like, for example, for a certain purpose, it's like, yeah, it's.
Oh, DALL-E 2 is actually super photorealistic. I should actually show you a couple of images, but yeah, not right now, because it's not allowed to go on a live stream with it currently. But I can send you a couple of generated images by DALL-E 2, and
You just send me the images, and I'm gonna edit them in the video while we talk about them,
yeah,
so that
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's fine.
No,
Um,
definitely cool. In it's also DALL-E like a free to use thing.
Currently is in closed beta. They are because it's hyper realistic, and you can like generate uh, images that are like so realistic you wouldn't make a difference between actual photograph or whatever you're
Mm.
asking and a real photograph. So they kind of are still in that stage where they wanna have artists and people working with it and flag different problematic images, making people aware of what is possible with it, and don't let it just flow around and produce a lot of fake shit like
Mhm. And
unwanted content.
among all the stuff you've done so far on that people could see around your Instagram page or anywhere else where you're present, I mean, I don't know if you are maybe on ArtStation. I know it's a platform that digital
I've got,
artists
yeah, I think I've got one, but it's not.
not up to date.
It's not. Yeah, it's not up to date. I've got some 3D work over there somewhere.
Well, is it mainly your work AI somehow generated, or
No,
some
no.
of the, or like for example, the things that you have done by you, like that you haven't generated with an AI, or that you haven't.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of 3D graphics. I mainly do that. I mean, my AI work is just. I mean, it's concept kind of exploring thing, and to keep myself into the habit of posting work, which I don't actually have, and I didn't have for many years. Um, but yeah, I've got a personal website, I've got Vimeo, I've got all that. I mean, all sorts of links, you can find bits and pieces of work everywhere.
No, but can you walk me through your like creative process, like when you do one of those projects where you do 3D graphics or yeah CG art, whatever we want to call it.
Um,
How usually the process looks like from the conceptual. So you start with this mental map you said, and then or
yeah,
more or
well,
less how
that
long it takes. More or less how long it
it
takes
probably
you.
depends on the kind of a project I'm working on because I'm a generalist and for example, the projects I was working for mainly in the studio with the team in electric, we will be a couple of people working on the same project, and one of them will be building like assets or the general 3D stage scenes. Another person will be developing textures and all that. Lighting, I'm more into R&D work myself. I prefer it to final image, although I do a lot of final renderings as well. But the process will be if we have the freedom for a complete like complete freedom to do whatever we want. A brainstorming session, then mind map, then general, like even hand drawn sketches and storyboards. Then will be like material development, general looks, and then refinement for final image, and then we'll go to post. That's pretty much it in terms of process.
But the projects that are on your Instagram, are they just personal
No,
projects
these
that
are
you do?
personal. This is all personal work.
And this
Uh,
personal stuff, how long it takes you to make, I don't know, a personal project? I mean, of course, as you said, every project is different, but more or less, how?
well, this AI stuff I do kind of in about 24, 30 hours.
Wow.
It it isn't much of a process. I mean, it is in a way you get the basic idea, you type a prompt, experiment. If the first you do a couple of iterations until you achieve certain look, and then leave it to render the whole video for like 20 hours. Then I do a little bit of post if necessary. I try to keep the post processing of that AI work as minimal as possible. Uh, but sometimes you need a little bit color crunching.
I think one thing that would be super interesting if you do it, it's like you do a YouTube channel and just record
The
how you do
whole,
one project.
yeah, yeah,
Like
definitely.
just
That
do
one.
that, and I think you're gonna break the internet of the community, I guess.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
But
I
but it would be interesting to do also a little bit of how you make the mind map because
Yeah,
that's interesting.
mind maps are actually quite interesting, and I don't see many people doing them. I don't know how I got into it, but every time I do it, I end up loving it because even if I don't use all of it for a project, you always have like uh, a piece of thinking you can go back and refer to for different projects. And yeah, I find them particularly useful and very inspiring, kind of.
No, how does your day look like? Like, what is now you're not employed, so you do everything on yourself.
Uh,
What is usually you wake up and what happens until you go to sleep?
well, I have a dog, so I am an early starter. Like 8 o'clock is the latest I can sleep for in a day. 8 o'clock in the morning. So I wake up, I go walk my dog. Then I have like a coffee and breakfast. Around 9, 10 o'clock, I'm on my computer. Depending on the day, I'll be working on either graphics or audio, and I try to break up my day into hours and like go through different projects I'm working on. I don't stay on a project for more than a couple of hours because I get stuck, kind of creatively stuck, and I try to juggle between a couple of projects at the same time, so I don't get bored as well. And like the time from jumping from one project to another, the time it gives me a little bit of perspective on the work I'm doing. So if I'm kind of stuck, or I like or I don't dislike something I've done, I have a kind of fresh eye to look at it when I'm back on it. This is kind of useful as well to me. Um, then
Until what time you stay awake in the evening?
oh, I'm like I probably midnight, like I do like long sessions,
Oh.
15 hours a day, kind of workaholic kind of thing.
How about I don't know. So you're very like how do you say? You're very like hands-on. Do you have like some routine for fitness, or I don't know, friends, family? They need times too.
My family, I don't currently live with my family, so it's kind of I see them for holidays and all that. I'm not much of a phone guy. I don't call much, so I've got a girlfriend and a dog. That's what it takes most of my time if I'm not working. uh, but yeah, I try to balance as much as possible my personal life, although it gets most of the time it gets eaten up by my work.
How about like you don't have a, for example, fitness routine, or just
No,
walking the dog is your movement during the day?
well, the thing is, because it's not all computer work I do. I do a lot of like when I play with the band and all that. I travel a lot. I'm kind of at the same time quite
On the road, so to
on
say.
the road. Yeah, so that keeps me in a way fit. And I've got. I mean, I do a lot. I make myself a lot of smoothies. I cook for myself, so I don't eat a lot of rubbish food.
Healthy
Yeah,
food.
healthy food. Yeah, definitely. But
And
not
then
healthy on the side with the coffees. I drink a lot of coffee.
that's okay. I can understand that. I have a rule that I don't drink coffee after 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, I've got the same rule, but never,
Never
never
works.
works for me.
No, but I was curious about that because like it's very romantic to talk to you and see all the cool stuff that you do, but I want also to hear from you also the amount of work and time that you have to spend into it. So people have to be aware that um, if they want to do whatever they want to do, they have to accept also what are the consequences, and you cannot
Yeah,
be like
yeah, definitely, definitely.
you cannot have like a Netflix and chill evening and then do AI crazy shit on the computer and do
Yeah, yeah,
music
no, it doesn't work exactly like that.
and then the one thing that it sounded cool from your duality between the bands and the music and the work on the computer is that you get sort of um, every person needs like uh, to have a little bit of adventure every day. So your adventure is going on the road with your band, and that gives you the need of this change, like a
Yeah,
little bit of
that's how I
change.
space between audio
Yeah.
and visuals. It's when I do music, I completely switch off from my computer, and yeah, I
And
don't
then
even not answer my calls that much.
when you come back, you are like now need a little bit of chill. You sit on a computer and do graphic. One thing that was super interesting, I heard on the last we did the latest podcast we did was with these guys that are also Bulgarian and German. They're called Technobeton.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
do
cool
you know
guys. You
them?
did, yeah. I mean, I know the guys, but I don't know them personally. But yeah, they're very interesting. I didn't know you had podcasts with them. Definitely
There
watch
was, I
that.
think it was the last, the latest, or the one before that.
Okay,
I don't remember. We like I'm
I'll
so
check it.
bad.
I'll check it.
There are over 100 episodes now, so I'm so proud of my work, but I don't remember the numbers anymore.
Yeah,
Uh, and unfortunately, just the Bulgarian part of Technobeton could be on the interview. We did a live stream with them because it was interesting. They did a little bit of a presentation on their work, and they also
awesome.
work in cinema 4D, and they do techno music and stuff.
Yeah,
um, and the Yasin, the guy said that it's ironic that he loves shortcuts on the software, because
yeah,
when you're with shortcuts and mouse, it feels like playing music. Designing feels like playing music because you
yeah.
can just turn off and just do your stuff and you generate your design.
I've got a space mouse for that. I don't know if some guys are using it. It's more like into architecture. I don't know if you can
No, I
see
don't.
that.
What is this? Oh, I don't know what
It's like a 3D space mouse that with a lot of shortcuts like that control the software. So it's kind of separate thing.
Hmm. Never after this podcast, never reveal the address of your studio or of your home, because out of security, you shouldn't say where you live.
Yeah, yeah, I've got my security system on. Yeah, no,
that's
that's an issue as well. Yeah. I,
that's good that you have that on check.
uh,
And
but
do you have like some plan for the near future in which direction you wanna develop, because you have so many options in front of you and so many ways you could go?
I mean, it's been a long, like a long pursuit plan for like an audio visual act, like music and live visuals as a complete performance. I've kind of tried doing it a lot of times and never had it the way I want it. But currently with one of with Milenita, we're working on a lot of new tracks, and I do a lot of the visuals for them, like videos and all that. And I think we're kind of going to that place where probably it's gonna become an audio visual performance, and I definitely wanna go into that direction currently. Um, it's been a dream kind of thing, and I see it somewhat happening currently. So yeah, in the near term, probably in the next year, that's what I wanna do mainly.
No, sounds really interesting. I'll be following, and I'll be seeing what is the progress and which direction you're going. And if there are news, like you can always come back to the podcast and share with the audience what is going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Thanks.
we covered a lot of topics with you. We'll be never able to cover all the topics you could talk about in one conversation.
Yeah.
But I want to always end up the conversation in a positive note with our, I call it box of inspiration, something like that, where I ask it's a very spontaneous question. You don't have to uh, be too thoughtful or to cover all the things, but I ask always people when they need to get inspired or fired up, what is if they have some favorite, I don't know, book, movie, music, plays, sport, podcast. I don't know if you was the food, whatever you think that you love doing when you need to recharge the batteries, or I don't know, get inspired or.
I would say definitely my place for inspiration is silence, and let's say a walk into the park or forest or walk by the sea or whatever it is that isolates me from people and like electronics and all that. Yeah, I mean, if I am left alone, I can have the space to start thinking, and with thinking it's inspiration. And so this is my formula.
Well, uh, it's another new way of trying to get inspired. You're the first one saying this method, so I'm curious and I'm gonna try it. Ivo, thank you very much. It was a real pleasure to getting to know you. And again, you're always welcome back when there are news with your creative career and path. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye.